mum was always very cautious of the bad things that could happen to her children. She would take all three of us, my brother, sister and I, to school in the morning as she worked close to the same time school started. I had been begging to bike to school since I got my new bike for my birthday a few months earlier, and she finally agreed. I was in grade 7, so 12 or 13 years old, and female. My school was a 2 or 3 minute drive, and around a 10 or 15 minute bike ride. I was eager to ride my new bike to school, as I had also gotten a new helmet and bike lock to go with it. School started at 8:30 to 9ish, so I left around 8. I liked to hang out in the yard with my friends before school started, so I would always go earlier. The route to school was pretty much one straight line down one main road in my city. Now it's 8 o'clock in the morning, so it's relatively bright outside, and again, I'm on a well-populated main road, around the time everyone is heading to work and to school. So I'm about halfway to school and decide to cross the street, but not a crosswalk or traffic light, just kind of jaywalking or biking, if you will. As I'm stopped in someone's driveway, looking both ways to cross, I notice a black car pull up to my left and park on the side of the road. It's a 2-door Honda Civic type looking car, from what I can remember. I'm 21 years old currently, and all of the windows were tinted. I didn't think much of it. The only thing that crossed my mind is maybe I was blocking them from getting in their driveway, so I continued on crossing the street. From the corner of my eye I see a man, dressed in all black with his hood pulled up to hide his face, get out of the driver's side and walk around the back of the car to the passenger side. Before I get the chance to realise what's happening, he's opened the passenger side door and is pulling me by the arm off my bike in an attempt to put me in his car. And for what felt like forever, it was like every car on the street had disappeared. Any sign of help was completely gone. One of the busiest streets in my city felt like a gravel road in the middle of nowhere with nothing to be seen for miles. It also felt like one of those awful nightmares where you try and scream but nothing comes out. So you're just silently suffering until you wake up. But it was real. I couldn't scream. I can't explain that feeling any better than a nightmare, but not being able to wake up from it. These things didn't happen in my city, so I wasn't prepared for what to do in a situation like this. So I did the first thing that came to my mind. I aimed for the nuts. I shifted my weight to my right leg and kicked as hard as I possibly could with my left. I landed one kick, which I recall actually hurt my ankle a bit, so I can only imagine what it felt like on the receiving end, and he instantly let go. I didn't even look before I crossed the street, biking as fast as I possibly could. I remember trying to turn around and get a license plate, but my eyes were watery from all the tears that were streaming from them, and it still felt like making any noise was impossible. I knew my mum would have probably been at work by now, so I just continued biking to school, silently crying the entire way. I pulled into the schoolyard and dropped my bike. I didn't care to lock it or even ride it anywhere again, frankly. My school's front door is locked 24/7, and you had to ring the doorbell to get in, so I did exactly that. The secretary reminded me that I still had time to play outside before class started, and that's when I was finally able to speak again. "I need to call my mum," I screamed. The door opened instantly. I explained what happened to the secretary, and then to the principal, and my mum, and finally the police, who I had refused to talk to until I spoke with my mum. The police arrived at the school shortly after, and took my statement. Then I went to the station after school to make another with my mum. A business across the street from where it happened had surveillance video, but it only captured the bottom 6 inches of the guy's car pulling up, his footsteps around the back of his car, and then the car pulling away shortly after. Basically, no solid leads on who the guy was or is. The same guy with the same body description and car description went on to attempt to kidnap 3 other girls, but was never caught. I don't really believe in a god, but I do pray that he was and is never successful. So, whoever you are, let's not meet. I came across this subreddit, and I knew I needed to share the story. This happened a few years ago, and since then, it's made me look at people very differently. I used to work in a strip mall, out in a fairly rural area. Most people are recognisable, even if you don't know them personally. People from out of the area frequently stop on their way through to other towns, so it's not like there's never out-of-towners, they just might be easy to spot. Like many places, we have a few homeless folks that hang around the shopping centre, and they occasionally ask people for food or change. It can be a nuisance, but the folks that worked at the shops kind of kept an eye on them to help them out or to keep track of how they're doing. There's this one guy, let's call him Shane, that over the course of the years has slowly gotten in worse and worse shape. He would be filthy and was clearly not doing well mentally, and was usually intoxicated. He always had several layers of clothing, and the pants that he wore on the outside of his other pants always sagged, making it hard for him to walk. He'd go missing for days and then show up again. We'd wonder what happened to Shane and ask around a bit, and a few days later he'd appear again. He was always so dirty. I always wished that there was a way that we could get him some help, but I really didn't know what to do. One day, I was out in a major city that was about 80 or so miles away from where I work. I happened to see a well-dressed, well-groomed gentleman that looked exactly like Shane, but at that moment, I figured my eyes were deceiving me. This guy had an expensive-looking shoulder bag, a new iPhone, and an Apple Watch. We were both in line at a popular food truck, and it was usually a long way too to order the food. Most people just minded their business and scrolled on their phones while waiting. This guy, on the other hand, is staring daggers at me. I keep avoiding looking that way, but I keep glancing to see if he's still there. And at the same time, I went to look at him because I'm so curious about how much he looks like Shane. I glance his way, and I have to stumble back because he's practically right up against me. He has such intense eyes. He sort of whispers to me, but really intensely. He tells me he knows where I'm from, and what shop I work at. He gets closer, and I can tell he smells good, and I could even smell his minty breath. I ask how he knows, and he just smiles. I ask again, and he smiles brighter, exposing a perfectly clean set of teeth, minus one tooth. I'm almost positive Shane is missing that tooth. I edge away, feeling more than a little uncomfortable. His order gets called up, but they say his name is James. The next few days I don't see Shane anywhere around the shopping centre, and I ask around, and no one has seen him for days. Someone says they hope he's okay, another person shrugs and says they wish they could do something to help him. The next day, here he is, filthy as ever, grimy teeth, dirty fingernails, wearing all his layers. He sits on the curb outside my shop and asks people for change. I decide to venture out and confront him. I'm 100% sure it's him, but I don't understand how he could get so filthy and smelly in such a short time. I ask him if he was in the city, and he looks at me through bloodshot eyes and mumbles that he'd kill me if I tell anyone. This takes me aback, and I look at him puzzled. He slurs again that he will kill me if I tell anyone that he's not actually homeless. He starts to get worked up, and I ended up calling the police because I didn't know at that point what he was capable of. He wandered off, and I haven't seen him since. So Shane, let's not meet. Hi everyone, before I start this story, I just want to say that I'm not claiming the story to be true. This one is more of a creepy skinwalker type story, so if that's the sort of thing you enjoy, then that's the story that's coming up next. Anyway, I hope you all enjoy. Hi everyone, so I've been hanging out here for a while to see if anyone has a similar story to mine, but no dice. So I guess I'll just tell all of you my story and hope for the best. This is my first time actually talking about this to someone who wasn't there, as it still freaks me out whenever I go to sleep. So, this happened several years ago, back when I was like 16 and still in the Boy Scouts. One year, they were holding what they called the National Youth Leadership Training, NYLT for short. My troop decided to send me up for some training, seeing I was kind of the youth authority figure for my friends in the troop. Well, it seemed interesting, so I figured, what the heck, go for it. Big mistake. Later, I found out the training was going to be at a summer camp I frequented. For anonymity's sake, I will leave its name out. All I'll say is that it's in the High Sierras mountain range of California, and like a 15 to 25 minute hike from a creepy old logging camp from way back in the day. If I remember correctly, it was supposedly an old camp from a company called Pickering Lumber Company. Either way, clearly no one had used it for anything extensive for years, seeing as the buildings were all rotted wood, and the nails and railroad spikes were ancient and looked to be handmade. The camp itself wasn't anything unusual outside of the occasional odd experience people would report. Things like hearing the sounds of an old steampunk train every so often, even though the railroad had been decommissioned long before the summer camp even existed. So all in all, it was a lot of fun getting to know the group, to which I had been paired for the training activities. At the end of the week, when we had our last activity, that's when the truly traumatizing thing happened that prevents me from getting a decent sleep to this day. I'll start with the event itself. The four of us, I'll call the others by fake names given that I can't remember them. So we have James, Alex, Sam and myself. The staff running the training gave us some food for the night, flashlights, a GPS tracker, along with a set of coordinates. They then set us off in the late evening and said to set up camp there for the night before breaking camp and returning. Nothing too stressful, seeing as I was relatively familiar with these woods, at least during the day. At night it would change, and I always felt like I was being watched from just around the next tree. So remember the GPS tracker they gave us? Absolute garbage. The thing died on us like halfway there, after it started leading us in circles. Back the way we came, way off course. It messed up in just about every way you could imagine. Frustrated beyond belief, and tired and hungry, at what was probably around 8 or 9 at night, we decided that we would just set up camp in the next open spot we came across, eat our food and sleep, before making our way back in daylight. So we came to a bit of a clearing on the side of a hill, had our dinner of terribly watered down soup, gathered some sticks and stones in a sort of large U, with the opening pointing down the hill to keep the wind off of us while we were sleeping. Even though none of us had ever heard of bears or mountain lions in the area, we decided to sleep in shifts just in case. Never hurts to be cautious. So during my second shift, probably sometime between 12 AM and 3 AM, I was laying on my sleeping bag, looking at the moon and stars. Something further down the hill caught my attention. It sounded like a stick breaking on the ground. Rather than shining my flashlight and ruining my now night-adjusted vision, I decided just to kind of look without moving too much in its direction, seeing as I was tired and didn't want to get up. Then, probably about 50 or 60 feet down the hill, I saw a large silhouette and glowing green eyes of a creature slowly creeping towards us. Now, I knew the standard prey animals of deer in the area generally didn't move like that, so I grabbed my light and my flashlight from the hill and woke up the other three as silently as I could, as I didn't want that thing to jump us before we were ready. As people were waking up, they looked in the direction I mentioned, and they generally whispered something along the lines of, "The fuck is that?" Then it was probably no more than 10 to 15 feet away when we jumped up with our flashlights and knives, and the tallest one, James, throwing a rock at the thing as soon as my light showed us what had been stalking us. To this day, I still don't know exactly what I saw that night, but even though it freaked the hell out of me, I'll describe it the best I'm able to. This thing was completely hairless, and white as printer paper. This thing was not very tall, on all fours, only come up to stomach or chest height. I didn't see any ears that I could tell. It had the muzzle of a dog, completely black eyes when not in the dark. Its chest had the same strange outward of shape of a canine, but its stomach looked almost human, if far too small. The creature had those weird hind legs and knees that dogs have, where they are bent at two places. Its arms looked human, but the arms and legs were elongated oddly, while its feet were incredibly thin at the toes, and fingers each were thinner and longer than normal, and tapered off into claws. The rock that James threw as soon as he saw the thing struck it hard in the side of its head. It lifted itself to its hind legs, easily dwarfing us, before shrieking at us and darting off down the hill. For hours after, this thing circled us, avoiding the light, taunting us, making muffled coughing sounds. Occasionally, this thing spoke to us in a high-pitched, distorted voice. It sounded like this thing was repeating what it said earlier from the hike to the campsite. Then I heard it try and mimic my voice from earlier when I was complaining about the malfunctioning GPS. Then it said the thing that most disturbed me. This thing calmly said, "Come out and play." Then it was gone. The next morning we looked for some sort of evidence that this thing existed, and we just didn't have some weird group hallucination. We saw a few prints that looked like handprints, and at the top of the hill within the view of our camp, we saw a line of stacked rocks pointing off deeper into the woods, and sitting at the top was the rock that James had thrown. Ready to get the hell out of there, we went and broke camp. When I noticed we were about 200 to 300 feet from the old logging cabin that the camp counselor had called Rosie's cabin. This freaked me out, seeing as for years all the scouts had been banned from going anywhere near this cabin. After we got back and decided to never speak of it again, I wanted to do a bit more digging to see if anyone else had heard about it. So a few weeks later, I'm back at the camp for a summer camp, and I do some digging and asked a few of the older counselors about the cabin. Supposedly, as they told me about hearing my story, several years ago they went in there when they were planning on expanding the camp to the old logging camp, and found a camp they could only describe as a nest made out of a shredded mattress, leaves, and bits of bones from squirrels and birds. To see what would happen, they destroyed the nest, and the next day it was back the way it was before. Then I asked if anyone had seen what made the nest, and they said I should go ask the climbing counsellor, as he'd seen something odd up there a few years back. Supposedly, the climbing instructor a few years ago had planned to build a climbing tower out of the abandoned camp, but never finished it, because one night, when he was nearly done, he decided to sleep on top of it and finish the tower the next morning. He said he was awoken late that night to something circling the tower on the ground, and at one point the counsellor said this thing looked directly up at him with its glowing pale green eyes. Sadly, I wish I could tell all of you I know what it is that I saw out there in the woods. The best I can say is that, well, my best bet is that it was a Wendigo. I know it's the wrong place and description. Look, I'm not talking about the freak from the pet cemetery. I'm talking about the original, straight out of Algonquin Native American myth. According to the Algonquin, the Wendigo was a white shrieking monster, tall as the trees, that would prey on those foolish enough to wander from their settlements into the lonely places. Other than the famed Wendigo, I have no idea what hunted us when we were children, and I dread the idea that one day when I have children, if they want to be scouts, that they'll have to face the same beast I once did. Hi everyone. I'm actually considering uploading this as a separate video, but it might just be on the end of a narration, I'm not too sure yet. But if you're here, welcome. And this is the part where I just talk about, whatever's on my mind. So if you find just rambling a bit boring, then this is going to be mind-numbing for you, so I'd probably turn it off. But some of you do seem to enjoy it, so I'm just going to talk for a little while. On my throat. If you can hear my fan in the background, I'm sorry, but it's quite hot and I'm tired. It's only about it's almost 2 o'clock actually. But yeah, you know what's been on my mind a lot recently is I really want to figure out how to be a better person, and not in a cringy way, but how can I do things that are good? Do you know what I mean? Because I've always been a nice person to everyone, but I want to try and do stuff that actually makes a bit more of an impact, if you know what I mean. Like I said, recently I've been donating to the Headway charity, which I'm happy I'm doing. I'm doing £10 a month at the moment. I can't afford any more, which is the problem really. I don't have enough money and earn enough money to be able to donate loads every month, but I'm hoping that if I do little and often of that, then it'll make a difference, you know. But I'm also like, the problem I have is like, I overthink everything. So like, in my head I'm like, is it even worth, like, I know it's, of course it's worth donating the £10 a month, but then is it really making a difference, you know? And then it's like, that bothers me. And like, the videos I put out, I want them to, like, I hope from the scary stories and stuff you can take something from it. Like, I if it's ever helped you avoid a scary encounter, please, or like a dangerous encounter, please let me know, because I really, that would mean so much. Like, if it actually helps you avoid a scary situation, or, you know, a creepy person, or just a dodgy situation in general, that would mean so much, because that's the whole point of this, is like, like, I used to upload videos just for the sake of them being scary, and some of them were, but like, what's the point? Do you know what I mean? Like, it's not much you can always take from that apart from being scary. But if there's something you can actually take from it, like these scary stories, like you could avoid a situation where you wouldn't have previously known that it could have been dangerous, then that would be brilliant. Like, that's the whole point, isn't it? I'm really making an effort to do everything right at the moment. I've been more conscious than ever of of that, and I just want, I don't know, like, I don't want to upset anyone either. That's another thing. Like, you know, I don't want people to be angry about anything that I've ever uploaded, and, you know, whatever. But I don't think they would be. It's just horror stuff, isn't it? But, you know, I've always loved horror as well, which is why I keep making these videos. I've always loved horror stuff and horror stories and like scary, like, events, and, you know, it's something I've always been really interested in, and I want to do that, but at the same time be able to give people something from it that they can take away. Sorry, one sec. I've got that thing again. You know when you eat and then, I don't know if you guys get it, but you eat and then it's like it's something stuck in your throat and you have to clear your throat all the time. It's really annoying. That's what's happening to me right now. But if you guys can recommend any sort of like charity stuff for me in the in the comments, then let me know, because I would love to like be able to do things for more. Like, one thing that I would love to be able to do is like raise some money for like a run or something. So I love running, and if I can raise money for like a charity or something, that would be brilliant. I just need to know how to set it up, because I don't know how you do it. Like, and I need to know how to prove to you that I'm not just taking your money and, do you know what I mean? Like, just robbing you. I need to be able to prove to you that I've actually taken this money and put it towards what I said I'm going to. And I'm thinking of different charities I could do it for, but it would probably be something that I just did on my own. It wouldn't be like a whole event or anything. It'd be like, I'd set up like a little fundraiser. I'd run a certain amount of distance, prove it to you on probably like, you know, like the Under Armour app or Nike app or something. Like, prove to you I've done that distance, and then, you know, donate whatever money to charity. I mean, I could just do the run anyway, but I just don't have the money to, you know, put forwards. So if I could do like a fundraiser or something, that would be brilliant. I'd love that. But yeah, that's my plan. I just want to figure out how I can, you know, what the fuck is that? Oh shit. Oh, is my house on fire? Oh, it might be. What's going on here then? That was weird. I mean, I don't see any smoke, so we should be good. Anyway, if this doesn't come out, or if this cuts short, I'm dead. Where was I? Oh yeah, so about the charity stuff. Yeah, if you guys can recommend different like things I could use, or like, you know, like different websites, or any, I don't know if there's a way on YouTube to do like crowdfunding sort of stuff but then I'd need to prove it. So I don't want to like just build up some money and then it looks like I've just done the old that little bank heist. But yeah, anyway, just recommend anything in the comments if you can think of any ideas. What else? I'm yeah, a lot of people ask me. I say this sometimes. Like, people do ask me to collaborate with other channels, but I really don't want to, if I'm honest. Like, there's certain people that are my friends that I'll collaborate with, but I just don't want to. I used to do this thing where I used to feature really small channels, like a few hundred subscribers or whatever, and try and get them some, like the ones that I actually really liked, you know, I thought were doing good stuff, but didn't get any exposure. I used to do that, but I just haven't recently. I just want to collaborate with friends more than anything, and I don't really. I don't like. I'm not a really people person. Like, I like nice people, but I find some people very like jobs worthy, and like I don't know how to explain it. It's like I get on with people that are nice to me, but there's just some people I find just irritating, and I don't know why that is. Like, I don't know if it's the way they come across on messages or whatever, but I don't know. Like, I think people have always got, not some people have just got such a like a barrier up. Like, they've always got like, they always think you're trying to offend them or say something to mug them off, and it's just not the case. Like, people think because my channel has quite a few subscribers that, I mean, I don't get that many views, so it doesn't. I don't see why it makes a difference. But people think like I'm going to be really like knobby and just, and they act different when you talk to them, and it's like not in like a way of, oh, it's a good different, but sometimes it's like you think you're above me, sort of different. It's not the case at all. I I really don't care about YouTube and like views and subscribers. I never have. Well, that's a lie. I used to care about subscribers and views and stuff, but that was when I was a lot younger. I just don't anymore. I really, really don't. I just want to make videos to sort of help people more than anything, because when I hear about how these videos can like help you like with your insomnia, or like if you've got anxiety or depression, that really means a lot to me. Like, I don't really talk to many people from my school anymore, because I just find so many of them like my old school friends, I just find them so negative and sort of I don't know how to describe it. Like, they just don't seem like great people, a lot of them. So I just trying to, that's the last like probably year, I've just been trying to talk to people that I sort of can just get on with and not have any issues with, and sort of a nice people, you know. Because I realise I just can't be bothered for just not even negativity, but like, because everyone's negative at some point, like everyone, but I don't know how to. You guys probably know what I'm on. You know what I'm on about. Just social vampire sort of people. Do you know what I mean? I just can't be arsed. I'm waffling now, because I was talking about YouTube channels people want me to collaborate with. Yeah, because people say like, oh, you collaborate with like, I don't know, Swamp Dweller, Unit 522, and Corpse Husband, and you know, these sort of people, but I honestly don't know what these people are even doing anyway. These people might not even make videos anymore. I don't watch YouTube channels, like horror channels. I just like watch, like, everything I watch from YouTube isn't horror related, really. Like, it might be the odd horror thing, but it's not from someone in the horror sort of community. It's normally just like a like a random video that someone's uploaded. Like, it's I don't know. It's not that I don't like these people. I just I also don't have much in common with a lot of them, and I don't they're just not my friends, if you know what I mean. Like, there's nothing wrong with them, they're just not my friends, and I don't want to sort of force an interaction with someone who's going to think I'm trying to get views from them or subscribers or whatever else. I just like, can't be bothered anymore. I'm just really past it all, and I'm just trying to upload videos now that make me happy, and that I know make you guys happy. Because when I upload these narrations, it's so much more positivity than it used to be, and like, you're all like, you lot sort of know me now, so it's like, it's not as if I'm trying to, you know, you guys know that when I do a top 5, I'm doing it to the best of my ability, you know, and it's like, if something's wrong in the video, then it's not because I'm trying to put a fake fact in there, or like if something's slightly wrong. You guys know that I'm doing my best with it, and I'm just looking up the situation, trying to display the information to you guys and sort of present it in a way that's interesting, but makes you want to watch it. Do you know what I mean? But some people really think I'm proper, like, when a video seems to get more views and it's not regular viewers that are coming back, you sort of, people like, sort of, they seem to think that I'm trying to be snidey and clickbait, and do you know what I mean? I'm not. But with titles and thumbnails, you have to be a little bit, not clickbait, you know what I mean? Like, you can't put a picture of like the sky up or something and think people are going to click it. Like, you've got to have something up there that's going to bring people in. But at the same time, like, I don't think my videos are, they're just trying to present, like, if it's something that I don't think is real, I'll say most of the time, like, this could be this, it could be that, I don't know. Like, I don't know most of the time. I don't know, like, in depth about every video that I've looked up, like, or what I've presented. Like, I'm just presenting to you what I found out about the video. I'm not actually trying to put up a case for it being real or whatever. I'm just putting it out there because I thought it was interesting or scary or creepy or whatever, or anything, do you know? So, but you guys seem to understand that. Then when it gets more views, people are like, ah, you knob. But it's not the case. This is why I'm just trying to make these sort of videos now, because I'm just happy with you lot. I really don't care about being, I don't care if I don't get another subscriber, as long as you guys stick around. Honestly, I don't care. YouTube could just take away the whole subscriber thing, and I wouldn't care, as long as you guys are, like, as long as I have a consistent amount of people here, like 3,000 listening, because that's when you get the most sort of, that's when you start to get like a decent amount of engagement, when you get like about 5,000, around that mark is when you have a good amount of engagement. But, you know, as long as there's a consistent amount of you guys here, I don't care. I just like talking to you, and you know that as well, because that's why I'm doing this in a way. But yeah, like, I hear about all people getting like cancelled and stuff as well, and I don't really know what they've done half the time. So they could have done really bad things, but I think, you know, these people sometimes probably aren't bad people. I know this is a random point, but like, a lot of these people have probably done one thing that's a bit questionable, but who hasn't, you know? Everyone's said something they regret or done something they regret. It doesn't define you. It doesn't mean you're a horrible person. I mean, it depends what you've done, obviously. If you've done something horrible or awful, disgusting, then yeah, fair enough. But sometimes the stuff that people get like cancelled for ain't even that bad. Sort of stuff you hear people say all the time, you know? It's just because they've said it publicly, really. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know why I even mentioned that. It's a random point. I think it's because of I see on Twitter, like, someone's been I don't never click it because it's like, oh, this person's been cancelled for whatever. And like, there's always big YouTubers it happens to, really, like much bigger than me, like millions and millions and millions of subs. But I mean these people probably do deserve it, because they've probably done really bad things. I just don't know. So I'm probably making a stupid point, but I think you guys get what I'm trying to say. Like, sometimes it's over minute things that aren't necessarily that bad. They're silly, but not always terrible, you know? But yeah. What else has been going on? I've just, at the moment, I'm trying to keep my mind occupied, which is the most important thing for me, because like you guys know about, I get like anxiety stuff, like, and it's not, I'm not nervous, sorry, I'm not nervous at all about anything. I just worry a lot. I'm not going to go too in depth about stuff, because, you know, I don't want to tell everyone and their nan about everything that goes on in my life, but I've been trying to just keep my mind focused on different things, and this is part of the reason why I'm trying to be a good person. I've always been a nice person, always been a good person. Never want to offend anyone. Like, I've always wanted to help people, but I don't know. I'm just waffling. I really am. I'm staring at the minute. I'm sort of half talking, like half focused on talking, half not, because I probably should have not mentioned it. But there's like a pigeon outside, and I'm trying to figure out what it's doing, but I can't tell if it's making a little house for itself, or if it's like got something wrong with it because it keeps falling down all the time. And I can't tell if it's just on a wonky branch, or if it's like, or if it's actually like dying. I can't figure out what's going on. It's quite intriguing, but I'm gonna stop looking at it now. Yeah, what else has been going on? Oh, also, I want to keep reiterating this point as well. Download, and I'm not paid to say it or anything, so don't think that. If you've got an iPhone, use Find My Friends, or there's an app called, I don't know if it's on like the Google store or anything like that, but it's called Life 360. Yeah, Life 360, that's it, and it's really good. Like, it's a really good way for like people to know if you're like where you are and like how fast you're going, like when you were here, when you were there, the route you've taken, because a lot of people travelling home at night on their own or walking down dodgy alleys, like, you don't really know whereabouts they are, but if something happens, you know where they are, you know, and if someone's not got back to you, as long as they've got their phone on them, it's tracking them and what's going on. So I think it's such a good idea, because if, like, say if you've got like your mum or something's walking home from somewhere late at night, or your wife or your girlfriend or whatever, you know that you can be like, okay, they're here right now, so if they stay in this one spot for, I don't know, 20 minutes, then something might have happened. Do you know what I mean? That's not a good way to say it, really, but it's just a good way to keep people safe, I think. Yeah, so I'd recommend it, honestly, to any viewers. Tell people to get that, because it's really good, and I use it with my family and friends and stuff, and just to make sure people are safe. What I was going to go on about? Let me have a think. There's other things I want to talk about, but I might talk about them another time. Like, I'm not too sure if I should talk about it now. Yeah, I'll talk about it another time. Also want to know what you guys have been up to, really. Oh, my throat. Like I said to you guys recently, I had to get a new car, which I didn't want to, because I had my little old Ford Focus from like 2002 that just broke in the end. I just kept, little things were happening all the time, and I liked the car, and I got it for so cheap as well. It was like £1,000 or something, like a few years ago, like 5 years ago. I've had it for ages, and it just was really good, but like, it still broke. It just started to break, and I broke down a few times, and it's like, I just need something new. So I've got another car now. I don't like spending a lot of money. It makes me anxious. I mean, I didn't spend a lot of money on my new car, but like, spending more than like £100 makes me anxious. So I don't do it often. Like, I don't, because I've never had much money. I don't like spending it at all. So it's like, I feel bad if I don't know if you guys get the same thing. Like, even if I buy like a shirt or a hoodie or something, I feel guilty. And I know I shouldn't. It's just because I've never had a lot of money, and I don't have a lot of money, so I don't like spending anything, you know. I'm not like really, really hard up or anything. I'm just, I haven't got loads of money. I've got like, like when I bought my car, it made a big hit on me. Sort of that kind of money, It's not like, I haven't got tens of thousands sitting there, or even thousands sitting there. I'm sure a lot of you guys can understand that, because I actually, on the demographics on YouTube, you can sort of, I can't remember if it was YouTube or something else, but you can actually see, like, when people say how much, like, because sometimes people can put in, like, on a survey thing, like, their voice correct, their, like, gender, where they're from, like, income sort of thing, like, not exact income, but like sort of jobs they do. And I think that's weird, isn't it? I wonder if I don't think I've ever filled anything up like that, but yeah, it's weird. So I can sort of see if you guys are male or female, where you come from. Not individually, but it would say like 40% female, or I don't know, like 20% aged 50 to 60 sort of thing, But yeah. I wonder how many of you actually listen to this point, because I probably wouldn't. But people, I say this to people a lot actually. Like, I wouldn't watch my videos. Like, it's nice. I really like that you guys do, but I wouldn't. I don't think I'm very good. But I'm glad that some of you guys enjoy it. What was going to talk to you about? Oh, my tyre went flat today, so that's good. So I had to pump my tyre up. What else is there to go on about? This could be the end of the video. I don't know. Oh crap, I said I was going to give some people a shout out and I've completely forgotten. Alright, if you guys who I've said I'm going to give a shout out to, you know who you are. One of you is called Austin, I remember, and there was another one, but I cannot remember. So I'm going to have to go and have a look, but next video I'll try and remember. See, this is the problem with shout out stuff, isn't it? Like, you just forget everything. Oh, do you know what I did do? I don't like alcohol very much, but I thought, you know what, try and make one. I tried to make a porn star martini, right? And yeah, it was horrible. It was really horrible what I made. It tastes nothing like that. Even like the cheap ones you can get for like £1 in Tesco's tasted much better than what I made. It was awful what I made. I didn't even drink it. I just chucked it in a bush. It was horrible. It really, I don't know what I'm missing. I followed every ingredient on it and it was fucking horrible. So yeah, maybe I should just, I'm not going to be a good bartender or anything, or that is the thing, isn't it? Yeah, bartender. But yeah, anyway, this is pure shite I'm talking now. This isn't what you guys come for. But yeah, alright, thanks for watching, guys, and remember to leave stuff in the comments about the charity stuff, because that would help me out a lot. And yeah, there's 2 dogs going mad. Can you hear them dogs? Of course they stop the second I say it. Alright, it looks like I'm lying now, but alright. Alright, speak to you guys later. Thanks for watching. Bye.